Okay. We'll see how the lighting turns out in this one.
Yeah.
I think I'm probably default to a little bit too dark, I think, on this one.
And whether or not we change the green screen to a black screen.
Yeah, we'll see. Keep experimenting. No episode is it's like everything's like a snowflake or a fingerprint. It's nothing the same. No, it's different every episode. I don't write anything down. What settings, what fonts I use, and I really should.
Nah, I'm guessing. It's your artistic creativity taking thing. Okay, hello everybody.
Hey, what's going on?
Welcome to episode 23.
23, yeah. There you go. Once a month, I think that's our pattern.
Yeah.
Whether
we want to or not.
Okay. Let's go with a drink.
All right.
Okay.
So, today's three albums are Michael Jackson Thriller, Metal for Breakfast, it's a compilation,
Various. Yeah.
And the third one is UFO, No Place to Run. First album, Michael Jackson Thriller. Now, you've had to have been living under a rock for the last 30 years.
Yeah.
If you don't know who Michael Jackson is.
30, 40 years.
But I'll tell you anyways.
Tell us.
Michael Jackson was an American singer-songwriter and dancer. He was dubbed the King of Pop and is regarded as one of the most significant cultural icons of the 20th century. His contributions to music, dance, and fashion made him a global figure in pop culture.
Mm-hmm.
And pop culture for over 4 decades. So he is the third best-selling artist of all time with an estimated sales of 350 million.
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
Just a drop in the bucket. Records worldwide. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame twice, and he's been given a ton of awards over his career. I couldn't even begin to even start because he's actually even been inducted into the Dancing Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
which
he covered a lot.
Is the first for a musician. Mm-hmm. So, yeah,
He better be in there.
But what a freaking rabbit hole to go down with this guy.
Oh, yeah, I mean, with Michael Jackson here, I mean, this week, I mean, it's hard. Like you said, you kind of know the story and the way everything played out and how it all went, but like you said, just how impactful and, okay, continue. Sorry, I'm with you on this one. This is one of those difficult ones. The good news and bad news is that this is the only Michael Jackson in the collection.
Oh, interesting.
So we won't have to keep digging into it, but it's
well, the good news is there would have been if we had another one to review, there would have been enough information that it could have been different every time.
Could have been a couple albums, for sure. So that we can kind of talk about this one because this is kind of like this is the biggest one.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
So Thriller is his 6th studio album. It was released in 1982.
Wow, 6th.
Yeah. In over a year, it became one of the world's best-selling albums at an estimated 66 million copies. It was the second best-selling album in the U.S., and it was the first album to reach 30 times platinum. I had to look and make sure I had that number right.
30 times platinum, wow.
It won a record-breaking 8 Grammys in 1984, including Best Album.
Mm-hmm. It
produced 7 singles, all of which reached the top 10 on Billboard Top 100. So, a pretty iconic album.
It's like one of the iconic albums of like all time.
It'd be interesting to know where it falls on that list of pop albums that can't remember who puts it out. I reference it every once in a while, but there's somebody who keeps a list of the top. I'm sure it's in the top 5.
Oh yeah.
Given those stats. So the track listing.
Oh yeah, let's get to this.
Yeah, Want to Be Starting Something, Baby Be Mine, The Girl Is Mine with Paul McCartney, Thriller with Vincent Price, Beat It, Billie Jean, Human Nature, PYT is Pretty Young Thing.
Young Thing.
And The Lady in My Life.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't read my own
wrong writing. Yeah, that's okay.
My Lady in Utah? What the hell?
You have this nice cursive that you can't read, and I have scribbles that I can't read, so it kind of works out. So, okay, hold on a second. First of all, which song do we want to play for the good folks at home?
Oh, geez.
TikTok. Okay, well, here's Wanna Be Starting Something. Like, honestly, yeah, I love this song. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I definitely love that. That whole bass line and everything. It should be the first song on this album. I honestly, the one song I didn't, because the back half of this album is much different than the first half, and the first half has this one weird one with Paul McCartney. I realized why it's in the first half. It's Paul McCartney and him doing this whole thing.
Yeah.
It's a shitty song. It's a fucking shitty song, especially compared to everything else in this album. Like, other than that, this whole first, like the first 2/3 of this album are like
hit after hit after
they're
hit.
just like massive monster hits.
Now, Michael Jackson wrote 4 of the songs
which songs?
on the album. Wanna Be Starting Something, The Girl Is Mine, Beat It, and Billie Jean.
Billie Jean's awesome too, man.
And the top 10 singles were Wanna Be Starting Something, The Girl Is Mine, Thriller, Beat It, Billie Jean, Human Nature, and Pretty Young Thing.
And it's funny, because this is my album growing up, so it's funny. I don't, as a kid, I don't remember Human Nature, but that's what I mean. It shifts so much there, like from Billie Jean to Human Nature, then it kind of goes into this softer, like everybody can go home now, kind of play them out.
Well, Pretty Young Thing too. It's another kind of upbeat.
Yeah, but it doesn't have the same kind of tone or aggressiveness
true.
in those, like, Wanna Be Starting Something and Thriller or Beat It. Like, they're like, he's got a bit of a harder edge in this one, right?
Yeah,
So yeah, I really like this. I really like this album. Listening to it again was pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, it was.
I kind of forgot some of the stuff, but just listening to the music, it's amazing to me how, not only how well produced, obviously Quincy Jones, like fucking, it's incredible, but
it had a lot of influence from the band Toto as well.
Yes, which is the commercial pop, like all about it. But it's so simple sounding. Like, if you listen to it, it's not complicated. There isn't a huge amount of layers, but what is there is so well produced.
And it's funny because there were 49 people credited on this album. Like, they had double synth players and triple synth players and all these different layers but it doesn't sound that complicated.
No, and that's exactly, you say you have that many people working on it, but it doesn't sound like that at all.
No,
it sounds like there's like 2 or 3 guys in a room playing some stuff. So that's what's kind of so interesting about it. It's so clean. Obviously, it's well produced, but yeah, it's just so simple and clean. But listening to some of those parts is fantastic. I really enjoyed it.
And again, the David Foster connection.
Yeah.
It's funny because I never think of him as a musician.
Yeah.
Just as a producer.
Well, if you heard some of his stuff, he's not really.
But he plays synth on one of the tracks, "The Girl Is Mine."
Yep. Yeah.
And some Eddie Van Halen does a guest appearance on Beat It. Yeah. He does the guitar solo. Vincent Price does the voiceover on Thriller. Mm-hmm. And I just love that song. There's just so much about that song to love.
Oh yeah, because it's such a prog song, and that there's so much, there's a story going on, and this slow, like, Thriller. That's what I mean too. Is Thriller is even more different than the rest of the songs in this album. That's why this album is so good. It's a little bit of everything. But I'm with you with Thriller, and it's still a song that gets parodied and all that. Still pop culture. Like, it's amazing to me.
Well, see, the one that gets parodied, and as soon as I hear it, even just the intro beat. I automatically think of the Weird Al Yankovic version of
totally. That's why Weird Al is so awesome, because you hear this stuff, you immediately think of Beat It or Eat It.
Yeah.
In that case, and that's hilarious.
An interesting little fun fact.
Just had a bit of a camera app meltdown. Break into the episode here.
Technical difficulties.
Have to restart. The video's going to look different because now I've got to use a different app because the other standard app is just crap its pants and won't do large blocks of recording now for some reason. So we had talked for a good 15 minutes after that. So, hey baby, where were we?
Okay, so this seems to be where it got cut off.
Yes, okay, so
a really fun fact about this album is that a person named Rod Temperton wrote Thriller. And he wanted to call it Starlight or Midnight Man. But it settled on Thriller because of its marketing potential.
Can you imagine? Midnight Man. Like, it's Thriller.
Yeah,
It's like when they were trying to do the whole thing, like Tom Selleck as Indiana Jones. No.
Yeah.
No. That's all wrong. It just seems wrong.
Sometimes, or gladly, most times, things end up the way they should.
Yeah.
Because this should have been called Thriller.
Yeah.
The producer of this album was Quincy Jones, also known as Q.
Q, yeah.
An American record producer, musician, composer, and film producer. His career has spanned 6 decades, and he's been nominated for over 80 Grammys. Of those 80, he won 27, and he's been given the Grammy Legend Award in 1992. He produced 3 of Michael Jackson's albums, Off the Wall, Thriller, and Bad. And like Michael Jackson, he is a legend.
And for continuity from the last take, I also just kicked the fucking tripod again when we were talking. Oh my god.
Hopefully that didn't kick the camera
Hope it's recording still. We come back for a third time. I'm not doing it again.
We need to set up a little mirror so we can make sure that things are still
going. A little clip, yeah.
Get one of those rear view mirror things to put in front of the mirror. You know, like, is it still breathing? I don't know.
So Quincy Jones, he's got his fingerprints all over quite a... Not say a huge amount of stuff, but he's definitely got his fingerprints in the stuff that we've listened to already. Quite a few of the albums have been produced or arranged by.
He's had quite a career.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy stuff.
Yeah.
So on to
over to you.
Over to me. Oh, I get to do all this again.
Yeah.
Okay. Fun. I got to go back in my book here because I had moved on to another episode. Another album. Sorry. Okay, so. Thriller, Michael Jackson, Epic Records, Canada, 82. It's first run, but variant number 3. And you say, hey, what do you mean variant number 3 from the last episode? Just there's differences in the label and some of the credits and such like that, and the run out on the album is etched differently. So that's why it's variant 3. The condition, it's worn and faded a little bit. There's no rips or tears or... Like the corners are still pretty good shape, considering this was my album when I was like 5. It's in better condition than I am, and it's got a little bit of mold. It's got a little mold here in the gatefold up the top, but
that can be
cleaned up. Yeah, that's not that big of a deal. The problem, so the vinyl had some small scratches on it. Small. The first 3 songs were unplayable. For the most part.
We didn't want to ruin our needle.
We can't just willy-nilly replace these needles all the time, and there's that one for sure.
They don't look that big, but holy mackerel, do they affect the playback?
Yeah, for sure. And so we essentially had to skip ahead a couple of the songs, some of the best songs. I mean, we listened to them anyway because we had.
But luckily, we've heard them before.
So, but once you got outside of that, though, like particularly the second side, we'll talk about because it had no problems. Is that it sounded fucking great.
Yeah.
It sounded really good, and it's well mastered, well produced. The sound feel is great. The bass sounds fantastic. So 3 unplayable songs so that's not very good in terms of its resale value.
No. Not that we're looking to resale. But
No. But resale. So the photography. So I'm just going to put this in here, and actually I'll leave that out for now. We'll talk about that. We didn't talk about it. So sleeve, it's okay. It's old. Lyrics and illustrations by Michael Jackson himself, and this one
of them is pretty fucked up.
That's pretty weird. That's pretty weird stuff there. A little foreshadow there, I think. So yeah, that's not too bad. The lyrics aren't overly complicated, so you don't have to worry about that.
No, who doesn't know all the words to these songs?
Most of them, yeah. Great. Photography, Dick Zimmerman. And no, not that ragtime performer from the 30s that you all know about.
What?
not him. He actually, I'll do this. So Dick Zimmerman, photo, lettering by a guy named Mac James. And we talked about how it's funny sometimes some of these albums, how many different components or people work on it. It's like, I'm going to do the font.
Yeah, who would think that they'd have so many people involved in the designing of a record or a record cover?
Yeah, you think it'd just be one dude.
I was specifically the font. Oh, I was the lighting. Oh, I was the airbrusher.
So you think there's just like one dude sitting there at a computer now, and it's just like he does it all.
Yeah.
So, Dick, portrait artist, oil portrait artist particularly.
Yeah, some cool stuff.
Yeah, does some cool cool stuff. He's done quite a bit of oil paintings, oil portraits specifically, of, besides Michael Jackson and Lisa Marie when they got married, which we laughed about in the other segment because, like, who remembers that?
God, that was so short-lived.
Shit. And also people like Tom Cruise and Arnold Schwarzenegger have all had self-portraits done by this guy. Which is weird because this isn't an oil painting. This is actually just a photo.
Yeah.
And not only is it just a photo, but it's the suit that Michael Jackson's wearing here is actually Dick Zimmerman's suit. It's like, here, throw this on, do this shot, boom. It probably actually didn't even take that long. It's probably something they did on the fly while waiting for something else.
Yeah. We'll have to ask Dick Zimmerman.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. Anyways, yeah. And the lettering, Mac James, here, the lettering design for artists such as Cameo, Bonnie Raitt, Cheap Trick, Fleetwood Mac, and others, but that's it. That's where the information stops. He's one of those guys
that happens a lot with these older albums, is that you just run into a brick wall.
Brick wall, yeah.
When it comes to finding information about people. And then other times you hit the mother lode. And
yeah, it's like, oh my god, what the hell do we pick out of here?
It's so much to relay.
So Dick Zimmerman runs something called, I'm pretty sure it's his, called Fan Club Art Gallery.
And that's the website.
I'm going to put it up behind us. And check that stuff out. I follow him on Instagram now because he's got some interesting stuff out there. So
I'll have to go follow old Dick too.
So yeah, so for me, we've listened to all that stuff. So we're back to you for pricing.
Sale history.
Yeah.
In its worst condition, $3. Mm-hmm. In median condition, $8. And in mint condition, $53.20. So if you're holding on to this album and
somewhere in great condition,
you're looking for some cash, you might want to try and sell that on Discogs.
Yeah, definitely. This one's definitely not going to be worth that. Cover's in good shape though.
No, in fact, we're going to have to replace it. Given the condition of the album,
which is fine because, like I said, the other one that no one got to see is that it'll be a better, heavier grain remaster. It'll sound fucking fantastic. So.
Yeah, even better than this one.
Yeah, so there you go. That's it. MJ down.
MJ down.
All right. Okay.
The second album is called Metal for Breakfast, and it's a compilation that was put out by Attic Records and released in 1984 of metal songs. And the track listing is... I didn't go into each individual group because there's 12 different songs. Yeah,
just take too much time.
12 different bands. It would have taken forever.
And I will say that some of these will probably pop up as actual albums later on.
Very likely. Very likely. Yeah. Okay. Very likely. So, the first song, Forged in Fire by Anvil. Cat Scratch Fever by Ted Nugent. Heavy Mental Breakdown, Killer Dwarfs. It is mental this time.
No, it's mental up here.
Because I crossed out metal. Balls to the Wall, Accept. Black Funeral by Merciful Fate. Metalhead by Blotto. Metal Queen by Lee Aaron. Princess of the Night by Saxon. The Ripper, Judas Priest. Metal Health, Quiet Riot. Mean Streak by Y&T. And Crazy Train by Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah, I didn't know Crazy Train. So, what song should we play over top right now so people can get a little taste of it? Crazy Train? Okay, Crazy Train. Listen to it right now. Okay, so babe, what do you think?
I loved this album. I really, really liked it a lot.
Huge surprise,
it was a big surprise.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Usually compilations are just a bunch of bullshit, but there was... half of the bands that are on here, I had no idea about them. Yeah. And a lot of the bands that I did know, the songs that are on here, I had no idea about.
Yep.
So it was a very pleasant surprise. And we're 2 for 2 on this episode and enjoyed both of albums.
Well, one we knew, Thriller, but then we get to this one, which is, like you said, unknown. You're kind of looking at the list going, mostly who?
Yeah.
And no, I'm with you. It was a really solid compilation of early 80s metal. And not like screamy, thrashy metal, but just
good metal songs. Just good metal songs.
Yeah, and it goes back to...
From the 80s, 70s and 80s? Or 80s and 90s? I can't remember.
No, it's 80s. Early, I think very, very late. So let's see real quick. No, so it's funny. Okay, so we'll talk about it.
70s, 80s?
Nugent is the worst I think the weakest song on here.
I totally agree with you.
It's also the 70s.
I'm not a fan of Ted Nugent.
Well, then that song was just
his music or his politics.
Yeah, and for the rest of the songs are all 80s.
So there you go. Yeah, I really, really liked it.
So was this this compilation? It was just Canadian, like just Canada, right?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, any information that I have seen in my journeys collecting information was all Canadian.
So yeah, I'm with you. Like, you know, Judas Priest. You mentioned all that. Quiet Riot. Yeah, it was one of those ones that make a great start of a Spotify playlist. Like, yeah, definitely something to throw on again.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it as well. There's like you said, I'm with you. One song you had written down that we both did was by Blotto, Metalhead, which we're both like, oh fuck, that's pretty good.
And the song by Saxon, Princess of the Night.
Yeah.
And the song Ripper by Judas Priest. Although I've heard of Judas Priest.
Yeah, definitely not Judas Priest.
I had no idea about the song. So I'm a little late to the metal game. My childhood, I grew up listening to easy listening and jazz. And, I've mentioned before that my dad was a jazz musician. And so we listened to a lot of that kind of music.
Yeah, you're more influenced with jazz, like Motown and stuff like that. Like that section, there wasn't a lot of metal thrown down.
But now I love it, and there are so many bands that I listen to now that are metal, and meeting him has opened up a whole new world of music to me. So
yeah, and that's like I always love finding, like you said, we always find albums like this, just little gems that we weren't expecting. No expectations going into it, but it's nice to find something just slogging through.
Yeah.
Album after album of the same thing. It's nice to have a break and be like, all right, score, win.
Yeah. Especially because so many of the episodes, as I think I might have mentioned, and you'll edit it out if I'm repeating myself, but so many of the episodes have been like maybe one album has been good.
Yeah.
And the others have been not so good.
Yeah.
So to get an episode where so far we've got 2 albums is very unusual. So, yes. Yeah.
All right, so yeah, that's a good win for us, man. Enjoyed it. So, what's next? Me?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Metal for Breakfast. Obviously, as you said, various artists. Attic Records, Canada '84 original run, which I'm sure there's only one of these because these don't seem to be super common.
No.
Condition is actually decent. It's like I said, it's a little bit old. You got your little topses, but there's no riffs. It's in great condition.
Yeah, the cover's in reasonably good condition. I would say median condition.
Median for sure. Yeah. Sleeve is plastic, so there's nothing going on there. The vinyl was actually I think there's a little bit of funny business in the first track, but other than that, it sounded decent enough, clean enough. But you were always at the whim of however it was mastered. So there was no one person overseeing. It would change from some of the songs had better sound than others.
Right.
So what are you gonna do on a compilation? So there's that. So the photography here. We're on photography?
Sure.
No, I'm still going through my stuff. Okay. So the photo is by artist named Patrick start again. Patrick Harvron. Harvron, yeah, that's what I'm saying about it. And design was by the art director was Dean Motter. So Patrick is a Canadian-born photographer. Started as rock and roll photog. Canadian, so Toronto area. Everybody come through, get some pictures of him. Worked with Bruce Springsteen, Police, Bowie, Grateful Dead, and such like that. Has published 3 books of photography. Works on ads for HBO, Rolling Stone, Netflix. And here is some of his work in his art gallery.
Yeah, and he's got an awesome webpage with all his different, like not just rock-specific photos, but all of his other photos.
I like his other... And it's funny because I kind of like his other photos more than his rock photos. As we track these people down, and,
And Patrick's on Instagram as well.
So, so where did that...
So, just for the hell of it, Doug told me that he was on Instagram. So, I sent him a quick message because we weren't sure who this fellow was in the photo. Mm-hmm. And not knowing some of these bands, we thought maybe it was one of the people in the bands.
Yeah.
So, I just sent him a quick note on Instagram.
So, you sent Patrick... Patrick got a quick note on Instagram.
And I asked him if he could tell me who the person was in the photos. And I told him a little bit about what we were doing. Well, I got this really great message back telling me that the person in the photo is actually Craig Jones. He used to be a DJ for a radio station in Toronto called Q107. And he just told me a little bit about taking this one. He said there's also another album out there called Metal for Lunch.
Metal for Lunch, yeah.
And told me a little bit about how he shot that in his studio for the cover of that album. Quite frankly, out of the two, both Doug and I like this one best.
Yeah, Metal for Breakfast, yeah. I fucking love that color combination.
And it was just really cool that he responded back to me and gave us some really kind of cool information to share on this episode. He said himself and our director Dean Motter were nominated for a Juno.
Yeah, I was
leaving
that for you. Yeah.
So they were nominated for a Juno Award for the album cover for this album, Metal for Breakfast.
Yep.
And he just talked about the follow-up album, Metal for Lunch. It featured Craig again, this fellow, and
I'll put it up behind us. So
he had a sub sandwich full of ball bearings with a coffee thermos that belched hot steam, which was dry ice and warm water. And he was very personable and very interactive. And
yeah, just it's amazing that like he gave us a little insight to just some of the goings on and the person behind there. So it was amazing. Like you reached out to and actually got some.
I never thought in a million years I would get anything.
No, for sure. And to like he'd be like, oh yeah, that album cover, and it's like oh this. So it's really cool.
And he engaged. Like he actually gave me more information than I was asking for, and interacted with me a little bit, so that was really cool. Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you, Patrick. Yeah, that's pretty mind-blowing stuff to be able to do that, and that's one of the good things about social media. I mean, there's a lot of bad, but the fact that we're sitting here doing this absolute bullshit nothing show and able to reach out to an artist from, that did this from 30, 40 years ago, and just be like, oh yeah. So I think that's amazing. So thank you for doing that, Vic. Yeah, you reached out to him, and
that's cool.
And I've always, even as a kid, I've always loved this cover. Not only from I just love that it's the color scheme. Like I said,
yeah, you're black, white, and red.
Red, I love that. Yeah, and just like, combo. And just with the, like I said, the metallic stuff and like everything's dark. I've always enjoyed this cover, and it's kind of cool to be able to talk to the artist and get a little quick little insights into. Yeah.
So there we go. Yeah.
So that's a win. Score. So.
Sale history. Are you done with all your? Like you've got everything.
Oh, sorry. No. Dean Motter, who was the art director for this, so he was obviously nominated for this, but he himself has actually won 2 Junos for. He won Juno for 1983's Anvil Metal on Metal cover, metal, and 1984's The Nylons Seamless.
Ah, crazy! 2 totally different genres.
And he won for both.
Like so far apart.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yeah, and he's an illustrator, designer, writer. He's best known for his album cover designs, but I'll post some of his illustrations from his books back here. Fucking fantastic stuff. Enjoy it. He's really good on them.
And I did find him on Instagram as well. However, he has no posts.
It happens, yeah.
Boo!
Yeah. Get on it, Dean.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done. So, cost, or whatever.
Sale history. And this one's really crazy because in its lowest condition, $13.30. Median is $20, and the highest is $32.92.
Rarity matters.
Yeah.
And that's why with Michael Jackson it's so cheap, because there's tons of best-selling albums of all time. You could go anywhere and get them. So yeah, rarity for sure. So that's pretty cool. No, you know what? This is in the collection. This is this is a keeper. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna save the Spotify, save it on Spotify so that I can listen to it.
Yeah,
when I'm out on walks and stuff like that.
Cool. Yeah, that's good. Good find. All right, Metal for Breakfast.
Okay, our third and final album, UFO, No Place to Run. So UFO are an English rock band that was formed in 1968. They became a transitional group between early hard rock and heavy metal and new wave in British heavy metal. Over a career spanning 51 years, UFO have released 22 studio albums, 14 live recordings, 16 compilations, and 1 album of cover songs. Yeah, I'd like to see what they covered. That would be really interesting. They achieved moderate success in the late 70s and the early 80s with several albums and singles. They have sold over 20 million records worldwide. They are considered one of the greatest hard rock bands, often cited as one of the influencers on the 80s and 90s hard rock and heavy metal scenes. They are rated 84 on VH1's 100 Greatest Artists of Hard Rock. So, yeah, they've been around.
And I know there will be more from them in the collection.
Cool.
Yeah.
No Place to Run is their 8th studio album, released in 1980.
It's the 8th?
8th.
Wow.
Yeah. Producer was George Martin, best known for his work with the Beatles. Martin was known as the fifth Beatle, because of his involvement on each of the Beatles' original albums. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Say no more.
Say no more.
I don't need to say any more. He's worked with bands such as Jerry and the Pacemakers, America, Jeff Beck, Neil Sedaka, Ultravox, Kenny Rogers, UFO, Cheap Trick, Elton John, and Little River Band, etc., etc. So, the track listing. Alpha Centauri, Letting Go, Mystery Train, This Fire Burns Tonight, Gone in the Night. Side B is Youngblood, No Place to Run, Take It or Leave It, Money Money, and Any Day. So there we go.
Yeah, now, this going to be a little bit of a tougher one. Which was the hit on here?
Youngblood and Letting Go are the two hits on this album.
Okay, which one do you think we should play for the people? Yeah, and for me, it's one of those ones with the track. Like, I know that was their hits off there. Those decent songs, but I found this wasn't one that was like one song was sticking out and was clearly the hit. It was all, it was all good.
Yeah, and I totally agree. Like, I really like this album too. So there we go, 3 for 3 on
3
this
for 3,
episode.
I know. And 2 of them we didn't have fucking any idea about.
No, these last 2,
Yeah.
So,
I don't know about metal either. I know they say it leads to metal. This is like the hard rock for sure. It's like hard rock blues where it would kind of, I can see where some of the metal that we listen to comes from that, like kind of proggy, cause kind of they are. So it's like I said, heavy blues influence, shit like that. So no, I really like it. The heavy metal moniker, but you can see what they're talking about.
Back in its day, like it said, like in the description, they talk about how it's kind of like the influencer. They were an influencer in today's metal.
No, like I said, I can see the influence for sure.
Yeah.
But somewhere I've seen it listed as heavy metal. It's like, dude. So yeah.
Yeah. As far as any difference or any specific songs go, I didn't write any specific notes about them. But I remember looking at you a couple of times while we were listening to it, going, "I really like this."
Yeah, and I have the hits down there as you have. I'm just gonna look at some notes here. So Mystery Train seemed familiar. Said Youngblood is decent, so that's a question mark hit.
Yeah, so it was one of their hits.
And Any Day, is that one of the ones? Yeah, Any Day, yeah, I said is one of the better songs too. So there you go. Like it's a pretty even album in that regard.
Also,
evenly paced and spread out.
There's a reason that Mystery Train sounds familiar to you. All songs were written by the band with the exception of Mystery Train. And it was written by a guy named Junior Parker in 1953. And it's also been recorded by Elvis and the band.
Ah, yeah.
So you've probably heard that
it,
one.
yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Before in another format.
Okay.
This was reissued and remastered in 2009 onto a CD with an expanded booklet and a bunch of bonus tracks. And the bonus tracks were mostly live versions
if you go on Spotify,
the songs that are always there, already there.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's it for...
Okay, No Place to Run, UFO. Canada 80 original run. So that's not too bad, and considering it's 80, it's in decent condition, like a little bit of condom mark.
it is in pretty good condition, actually.
Don't see a problem with that. The sleeve is decent condition, plain paper, which is not too bad. And actually the vinyl, like I said, on this one, the vinyl is pretty much like new.
Oh yeah, it looks brand new.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
It's shiny and clean.
Yeah, there was no hits.
Considering the amount of years it spent in the crossface.
Yeah, no kidding. So no, that's in great condition there for sure. The audio, I just want to get to the audio for the audio notes. I just said good mix, sound feel. There was something special about it. It was clean, bassy, like it had the appropriate bass, but there was nothing it was solid. It was good. Like, it wasn't an issue that you would think about being like, wow, this sounds like shit. That wasn't there. It's kind of like the album where there's no big hits that stand out. It's just like a solid all-rounder. Okay, so put this paper back in here. There we go. The cover photo was done by the guy who turned out to be a group of people called Hypnosis. Hypnosis, see?
Yeah.
Now, these guys, I'm
and
pretty
it's spelled
sure...
H-I-P.
Hypgnosis.
Yes, so,
Hypnosis. Yeah. So anyways, and these, I'm going to get into it right away because these are going to take a lot of time. They have impacted music album covers in a way that you're familiar with them.
Yes.
You know them.
You don't know you do, but
yeah,
you do.
Exactly. And we've probably already covered them more than once already, and it's not kicking in. But like, this Hypnosis, so they're already dissolved in '83. The main guy, whose name is, oh Jesus, I got a lot of information here. His name is Storm Thorgerson. The other people that worked with him were Aubrey Powell and later Peter Christopherson.
Christopherson, yeah. Christopherson.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see the T. It's okay. Gotcha. So he came later on, but it was mostly just the two guys. And actually what it was back in the day, Pink Floyd, Sid Barrett particularly, went to this guy and like, hey, want to design an album cover for us? Okay. So, some works, UFO, Pink Floyd, Trex, Sabbath, 10cc, Zeppelin, ELP, Monty Python. He did all the covers for the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy books.
And we always get a movie reference in here some way or another.
Yeah, so Pink Floyd approached Storm to do the work on Saucer Full of Secrets, and then it just kind of was gone from there. It was just like...
Yeah, they've done some pretty epic album covers, for sure.
So yeah, okay, I do have an English art design group based in London, specialized in photos and art for rock bands. Oh, good, I kept that one short. Good. Yeah, just because like I'm going to put pictures of things are going to be in the background here, and just you're going to see like even do a bit of look on Hypnosis and Storm and stuff like that. Like I said, it's honestly it's fucking amazing the work these guys done. Like pretty much all of Floyd stuff. One of my favorites is Welcome to the Machine, and like they did that. So it's always kind of cool. Too, there's also a website out there. I think it's like 33 things you didn't know about album covers, and it's all about the album covers these guys have done. So just different facts about that. I didn't go through and look. There's so many. I got rabbit hole. I got sidetracked and ended up not getting any information for this one. so it's like, you know, the Pink Floyd one. You know, just for a quick fact about that, they're talking about. Which we hear with the dudes on fire and they're shaking hands, just like everything that went into that and how they had to snap it real quick and put the guy out.
I think we've seen some sort of a documentary or on the making of that album cover.
Yeah, and these guys those are the same people that did this, man. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, we've learned so much doing these about different artists and photographers and artists and just...
So I'll put the dude's name, so besides Hypnosis, I'll put the Storm's name up there and like, yeah, check out the stuff, the art gallery stuff, and it's excellent work. It's stuff that we all know and love, and buy T-shirts of it and favorite band. Like it's fucking great.
Pretty epic stuff.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I know I'm repeating myself, but sometimes it's kind of staggering when you look at the information. It's like, holy shit.
Yeah, you don't put all the
Yeah, these people are responsible for so much imagery.
Close the loop.
Yeah, fucking great. Okay.
Is that it?
Just looking here, yes.
Sale history, lowest condition, $4. Median condition, for $5.97, and in the best condition, $7.64.
I can see these being out there, not too hard to get.
Yeah.
Floating around, so. For rating?
Collection for me.
Yeah, collection. I said it would be good with a few other albums, like kind of mix it up, or... Yeah, it's in there.
Yeah. And that's the beauty, I guess, of Spotify. If you just want like quick on the run stuff, you can mash a bunch of these albums together on a playlist and just hit shuffle and away you go.
Exactly, yeah.
But when we're just sitting around the house, we can listen to
throw it on and play it through, and so that's another good surprise. Like 3 for 3 this episode, and like I said, 2 of them we were like we had no idea.
Yeah, it was a crapshoot at the beginning, but we like them all.
So, UFO down, but they'll be back. I know they're going to be back.
Okay. Thank you for watching.
Yeah, so second time through. Thanks for watching. And
follow us, comment,
like, subscribe,
hit the bell if you want to know when we're putting up episodes.
Yep.
Go to our
we have a Twitter account.
At Return from the Crawl Space 1. So RFTCS1.
You have it right, but it's not Return from the Crawl Space. It's Reviews from the Crawl Space. It's all right. It's all right. Anyways, guys, good. See you soon.